This is the SCCA ProRally Series, and today we travel to Michigan's Upper Peninsula for the final round, the Hyundai Lake Superior event. Well, you wouldn't know it, but this is the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, 70 degrees and sunny. We've got 80 cars going off the line for 447 miles over the next 2 days. Let's head out to stage number 1. Paul Schwanier gets first position on the road. A little bit dusty out here. That'll definitely help him out. Let's look at those roads. As we head out, they're going to be 17 total stages. The longest event of the season, 440.7 miles over the 2 days.
The roads up here in the Upper Peninsula are great roads to drive on, and I think the Hyundai is ready to take us out and have a really good time here this weekend.
Looks like he's doing exactly that on our opening stage here. His teammate behind him, Noel Lawler, looking to move up the order.
If Carl ends up 6th or worse and I win the rally, I think I can come 2nd. Otherwise, I think by starting, I think it's a fairly good chance I'll end up 3rd. But it'd be really nice to have Hyundai 1-2.
Here at the finish of the second stage, though, trouble for Noel. That is smoke out the back, not just dust. Ragged engine note, bad news. His day is over. The racing engine wasn't going to work for him today. Another bad mechanical failure for Noel. Tough break. Behind him on the road, Carl Scheibel doesn't yet know the pressure is off.
Watch the dust.
Well, there's a little bit of pressure still. Noel can still catch us. So if he wins this event, I've got to be in the top 5. And I want that number 2 plate on my door next year. So we're going to shoot for the top 5.
With Noel out, he is already guaranteed that number 2 plate from the point standings. Behind him, Doug Shepard sliding that car around. Look out.
I don't want to hit anything, okay?
Just off the road there, missed a turn. Easy to do out here. They're all reading the route book to figure out where they're going. It's easy to miss one of these quick turns. He gets it straightened out okay, though. Keeps it on the road. That's the important thing. No trees in the way for him. Next guy down the lane, Garen Schrader. He thinks he has the right setup today.
The biggest problem up here is the juggle on like I said, the weather conditions and on tires. And so with the weather like it is now, we're able to stay with the wide tires. It's a feeling that you're comfortable with because it's what we run most of the year, and it's what does best on the car.
Working okay for him. Whoa, look out. Sideways off the road. Good spot to do it, though. He had enough room to get back on again with a four-wheel drive. That's the key to the whole thing. Keeps us going. That's what he needs to do. Behind them on the road, husband and wife team Henry and Cindy Krolakowski getting used to the new Subaru ProDrive for them this season, having a great time. Oh, into the pucker brush a little bit, but no problem for them. Seamus Burke and Frank Cunningham next in the Evo as they make their way along the roads here. These guys are real fast, something to keep an eye on. Definitely moving up the order here. As we get now to the finish of stage number 4, the first in the evening set, Paul Schwanier comes in 37 minutes, .44. That's hundredths of a minute they measure to. Behind him on the road, it's Doug Shepard now that Noel's retired. He's got a flat, though, front left down for him. That's definitely going to cost him some time. Still managing to keep it pushing along, but it's definitely going to be a little bit slower for him. We'll check his time as he comes into the finish, 39.15. And Carl Scheibel next on the road now. Comes along, no problem so far.
Sweep left, 2/10.
Oh, no. I think that tire's going soft in front, Russ.
I know, I can feel it.
Yeah, you got to be careful cutting those corners. There's all sorts of stuff hiding in there. You never know what you're going to find. They've got a rock, they've got a flat, and they are limping along through the stage. That is definitely going to cost them big time as they come into the finish, 42.27. Terrible news for them. And right behind them, catching them now, that means they've made up a minute, Henry and Cindy Krolakowski at 40.03. And Seamus Burke behind them on the road as he comes up towards the finish of the first evening set here. Incredible time, 39.41. And we check the Hyundai race report. That'll put him 2nd behind Paul Schwanier. Doug Shepard in 3rd, Garen Schrader 4th, and the Krolakowskis in 5th. It looks like Carl Scheibel had a tough time with his tire.
And I drove the end of the stage, and the wheel heated up so much I couldn't get the lug nuts off. So we struggled with that and checked in 2 minutes late and had no choice but to drive it slow for the next stage. So we lost about 4 minutes total, and we'll try and make it back for a top 5.
This rally event is brought to you by Hyundai. Driving is believing. And by Falcon Tire. Performance never looked so good. and by the Sports Car Club of America. Over in two-wheel drive now. Let's take a look at the first leg standings. Steve Nowicki out front by a wide margin in his older Mazda here, having a great time stirring it up in the dirt. Behind him, it's Mike Hurst, rally veteran, also having a great time running second in the class. The biggest battle, though, is between this guy, Brian Hort. He had problems on the stage, had to stop, got stuck. He's looking to make up that time now. His main rival for the Woodner two-wheel drive cup, Mark Utek, no problems with him. And Brian Hort has got to be concerned about that.
Probably only took us a minute and a half to fix the electrical problem. Found it really quickly. But the problem was we pulled over in kind of a bad spot, really soft bank, and just kind of went into a little swamp. And basically there we sat.
He needs to make up 12 minutes to catch Utek. Over in PGT, Celsius Donnelly set fastest time for the class on stage number 1. Well, at the end of stage number 2, the engine had given it up. Looks like a blown head gasket puts them out of the event. Pat Richard, he clinched the championship in our last show, but he's not having a smooth run here.
A little bit in the ditch, yeah. So we ran to the end on the rims and couldn't keep going, but we were able to borrow a donut from a spectator, so we're going.
Whatever it takes, Pat. Get it to the finish line. That's the idea. Ryan Pep running third in the PGT class now. Looks like Eclipse is dominating again here. The man behind him, Shane Mitchell, also having a great run so far. Local boy Steve Gingras from just down the road in Marquette out in front in this class at the first leg's finish. Over in the production class, a quick look. We've got Dennis Chisma, got his engine rebuilt, going strong here, leading that class so far. The man he's battling in points, Brian Vinson, second behind him on the road. And the titan of the rally world, Perry King, is back in the Hyundai Media car.
This is the most fun you can have with your clothes on, as they say.
It definitely is. And as we finish up the night stages, Paul Schwanier told us about the challenges.
Well, you know, it's interesting because there's it's very hard to see the depth out there tonight. The trees are all the same color, and there's no leaves on the trees, and it's a lot of leaves on the road, so it's very hard to see the edge of the road. And so I'm being a little bit cautious where the road seems to be a little tricky, and you know, going quickly where the road seems to be nice.
He comes up to the finish of the evening stages now. His time, 1 hour, 34 minutes, .08. That'll be the time to beat for Doug Shepard as he follows through behind him.
10 years ago, I used to really love driving at night because I was as good as anybody would be. Nowadays, I'm not quite so sure, but I enjoy the night. We've just got to see if I can work out the little bugs.
Happens to the best of us. As he comes up, glowing brake rotors, we'll check the time, 1 hour, 36.04. Garen Trader on his heels.
We had quite a big moment on stage 2 and got a little rattled, but maybe driving just a little too slow, but we got a long rally ahead of us, so I think we can, we'll just keep going fast and get in the rhythm and push hard.
That's what he's got to do. Whoa, look out. Hangs on to it, though. It's tough out here in the night. Some guys like it. His time, 1 hour, 38.01. That's good enough for third so far. Carl Scheibel's got a tough job here. He's got to make up 8 minutes on the rest of the field to get back into the hunt. Looks like he's pushing hard to get that done, though, and it may work out for him. He's just got to keep it on the road. As we go to the finish line.
48. Man, that was fun. That was great.
1 hour, 41.19. He's loving it. So the Falcon Race Report. It's Schwanier, Shepard, Schrader. Scheibel's made up some time, and then Krolakowski.
Keep watching more rally.
This week on Rally Dirt, we got some help scouting the rugged roads here in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. For each of the events we cover on our Speed Vision Rally coverage, the toughest thing is trying to figure out where to put the cameras before the event begins. This week, Hyundai Motor America lent us the new Santa Fe to check out our positions, and it was more than up to the task. To get the event home to the viewers, we try to find the best spots available, using the same route book the drivers later get for the competition. We drive not only the rally roads, but some pretty tough side roads getting into the middle of stages. It gets rough out there, but the Santa Fe came through perfectly for us. One cool feature everyone seemed to like was the Shiftronic 4-speed automatic transmission. Lets you shift like a standard just by flicking the shift lever. The 60/40 fold-down rear seat came in handy, and 16-inch wheels are a nice touch, plenty of ground clearance. If you're in the market for an SUV, this new creation from Hyundai should definitely be on your list. Back out on the start of the Leg 2 stages now as Paul Schwanier in a slightly different Hyundai, still out in front on the road. First place, he's liking that. Whoa, look out though, gets it sideways right at the finish of stage 1. Cost him a little bit of time though. He's able to get out of that jam, finish up the stage okay. Behind him, seated second on the road, Doug Shepard, keeping up the pace here. Whoa, pushing a little too hard. Watch out for those big rocks. I hate when that happens. He's managed to get it out there okay. Takes him a little bit of time. He's got that four-wheel drive again on the Mitsubishi. That's going to help him. Yeah, he's got out of the ditch back on the road, but that certainly is a wake-up call early in the morning, the first stage. You don't want to be having that happen. He gets it through, finishes up that stage okay. No problem there. The car looks to be all right. Behind him, Carl Scheibel, third seated on the road for the morning stages here. He's got 7 minutes to make up on the top guys, but he could get there. It's definitely a lot more miles left in this event. Garen Schrader next on the road. They put him fourth in the order, even though he's third overall. I think they wanted to give Carl some running room. Back at the front of the pack, Paul Schwanier heads into the famous Delaware chicane here. He's not too worried about the guys behind him.
We can afford to slow down a little bit because today's stages are going to be rough in places, so we'll take it easy through the rough things, and we'll go fast when the road's nice and smooth.
Having the championship clinched definitely takes a lot of pressure off him. Still pushing hard, though. At the finish, 1 hour 45.56. That will be the time to beat. The guy trying to beat that time, Doug Shepard behind him. As he heads along, this is a fast, open stage. Then you come into the chicane. Really got to be on your toes. Looks like he's taking a fairly cautious line through there, though. Keeps it going on the road. No excitement for the spectators there. At the finish line now, we'll check his time on board. 1 hour 47.72. Still a little bit behind Paul there. The guy trying to get a lot of time back, Carl Scheibel. He's slip sliding around, using every bit of the road there as he comes in towards the finish. 1 hour 52.56, made up some time, biting into that 8-minute deficit he got last night with a flat. Garen Schrader now into the chicane, makes his way through, no problem at all for him. Gets the dirt moving around as he heads to the finish line now. 1 hour 49.89. Seamus Burke. Now here's a tough story. He got caught in a speed trap the organizers had set up on one of the road transit sections last night. Cost him a huge road penalty. His time, 1 hour 53.41. He's got a lot of work to do to make up the deficit he lost in the penalty. Behind him, Henry Krolikowski and Cindy Krolikowski get the Subaru through the chicane as they head towards the finish. The time for them, 1 hour 52.95. So the Hyundai race report, Schwanier, Shepard, Schrader, Scheibel, then Krolikowski's move up into the 5th place. And the Falcon street tires are going on as we head to the Brockway Mountain Hill Climb stage coming up next. The Falcon RGB 451 is engineered from the ground up for performance. All of Falcon's racing experience has been brought to bear on these Z-rated, ultra-high performance, low-profile tires. Over the next 4 miles, they're going to be put to the ultimate test on the Brockway Mountain Hill Climb stage.
Looking forward to trying out the new tires. This will be kind of fun. So, you know, I love the pavement.
And they are ready to go as Paul Schwanier gets his ride first up the hill. We'll get a look at it. First corner is always a tricky one. A lot of off-camber stuff there. These guys enjoy the variety of a paved surface.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to refrain from having too much fun and going fast, but things are going real well for us.
He's definitely working okay here as he squeaks through the S-turns. The biggest challenge on this hill is not the turns, but the jumps. Right there, you see he keeps it down. It's easy to get too much air, and that can get you into trouble. His time at the finish, 2.94 for that one stage. Behind him, Doug Shepard. Getting the speed up nicely here. They got a steep uphill climb at the start, but they want to keep the momentum going. That's key to hill climbing here. They're doing it nicely. Not much air at all for him. I think he's learned his lesson there, keeps it down. At the finish now, his time on board, 3.17 for that stage. Behind him, Carl Scheibel now, giving the Falcons a test out as he comes up. Definitely waking him up there. A chirping tire is a happy tire, I hear.
Steep uphill left.
Yep. That's the bad one before.
A lot of air there. Gets more at that jump as he heads in towards the finish line. Nice pace for him. We'll check the time. 2 minutes, .93, fastest so far. Behind him, Garen Schrader makes his way along. Comes through the S-turns. Not quite as much power there. He's taking a little easier. Little air at the jump. We'll check him at the finish now. 3 minutes, .13. Still a little slower. Seamus Burke, he's really having a wild time, needing to make up time from last night. His time at the finish, 3 minutes even.
Well, last year I ran this stage in slicks, and this year I ran with the Falcons. I was actually 3/100ths quicker, so I was very pleased with the grip. And like I said, we landed over 100 miles an hour a couple times, and they held the road perfectly. Don't try it at home.
I think we saw 115 miles an hour on the Tiburon, and just, you know, we're flying through there. It's maybe a 75-mile-an-hour average road.
Back out onto the gravel here, stage 15, as Paul Schwanier motors his way through, not pushing too hard, but staying in the lead. 1 hour 54.07. Next on the road, Doug Shepard.
We're sitting in second, and we're pretty much where we're going to end up as long as we don't do something stupid. So right now, the game plan is to try and finish one of these rallies for the first time in about 7 years for me.
So far, he's doing exactly that as he finishes up stage 15, 1 hour 56.58. Carl Scheibel next on the road still. He's been slowly reeling back in the leaders, trying to make up the deficit he lost last night. 2 hours, .84. Garen Schrader, fourth on the road here, third overall still.
I don't think we can really move up unless somebody has a problem. So we'll try to pace ourselves and maintain our position and bring the car home to the end.
That's the trick. 1 hour 58.46 keeps him in third place. Seamus Burke, he's been fighting back incredibly from his penalty last night. His time now, 2 hours, 1 minute, .45. So the Falcon race report, it's Schwanier, Shepard, Schrader, Scheibel, and Seamus Burke now moving into the 5th spot. This rally event is brought to you by Hyundai. Driving is believing. And by Falcon Tire. Performance never looked so good. By the Sports Car Club of America. As we get back to the final couple stages here, Paul Schwanier on 16, downhill into the chicane now. Whoa, little slippery there, gets caught out. This is the same stage they ran earlier, but it's downhill this time rather than uphill, and it gets him going, a little more momentum, sometimes too much. No big delay, though, back on the road for him. Doug Shepard comes through. We'll see his approach to it. Slides it through. Whoa, a little bit off the edge there. Looks like he might have just missed a ship, but he keeps it moving. On board now with Carl Scheibel and the Falcon camera as he slides through. That's the way it's done. Gets it around that hook and back on the track. Garen Schrader next to the chicane here. Whoa, same problem as Paul. Gets a little too much momentum there. Slides the back end around. Gets it going, though. No time wasted. And Seamus Burke showing us how it's done here as he slides through. That's the technique. Whoa, watch out for the camera there. And Henry and Cindy Krolakowski now in 6th place, looking to fight their way back up into the at least 5th place spot here. Nice move there. Over in the production class, we'll take a quick look. It looks like Dennis Chisma's got it locked up for the event as he takes 1st place, bringing it home in fine style. But the big news is Brian Vincent and Richard Beals. They take 1st place in the championship for production.
When you don't have any power, you can't accelerate real quick, so all your momentum comes in the corners, and that's where your speed comes from. So you spend your time fast in the corners and maybe not as fast on the straightaways as some of the big guys.
And Perry King and Mark Williams bring the Hyundai Media car into a 3rd place finish in the class.
It's so much fun. You got anybody out there who's ever thought of it, you got to try this sport. It's the greatest.
Good advice. Over in PGT, disaster for Pat Richard. Watch the inside here. Takes the tire off the bead on that move. That'll put him out of the running. Brendan Cunningham and Paul McLean will take 3rd in the class. 2nd goes to Brian Pepp and Jerry Stang as they bring their Eclipse home. And the winner in the class, local boy, Steve Gingras.
You remember these roads, and they're so much fun, and local knowledge is definitely worth a couple seconds.
Over in the 2-wheel drive classes now. Steve Nowicki will take the win for the event. But there is big news going on behind him as championships are being settled for the season. Robert Nielsen and Brent Corneliusen take the Group 2 class for the championship. And behind him, Mark Utek has managed to maintain his lead. He will take the Woodner Cup trophy.
But we were able to stay in the middle of the road, not have any troubles, and got to the end and took the championship.
Nice work for them. Back out in front now, Paul Schwanier as he finishes up on the final stage now. He's had a good cushion all day, but he is not letting off one bit. 2 hours, 5 minutes, .42. Well done for the season. Behind him, Doug Shepard, still second on the road, holding on to his second position down to the final stretch here. We'll check his time at the finish line. 2 hours, 8 minutes, .08. Carl Scheibel's been pushing to make up the gap.
Whoa, pull it back. Whoop.
A little bit too hard at times there. It looks like gets it into the weeds. No big delay for him, though. He's still been cutting away at the margin. We'll check his time at the finish line as well. 2 hours, 12 minutes, .20. So he has not been able to make it up. Garen Schrader fighting for third place now. We'll see if he can take it. Blasted along to the line. 2 hours, 10 minutes, .14. That should be good enough. The only spoiler could be Seamus Burke here. If he was able to make up the penalty he got last night, he could come in 2 hours, 12 minutes, .32. That'll put him in fifth. And the champagne is out. The Hyundai final race report. Schwanier, Becker, Shepard, Schrader, Scheibel, and Burke.
This is probably the best event we've had all year without question. The car was incredible. The weather was great. The roads were perfect. We just couldn't have ended a great season any better than this weekend.
So the final season point standings, Paul Schwanier, Carl Scheibel, Noel Lawler, Garen Schrader, and Doug Shepard. Manufacturer points, see Hyundai, Mitsubishi, Subaru, and Toyota. A fantastic wrap-up to a great season of rally. We look forward to bringing it all to you again next year, right here on Speed Vision.